we've got a big show ahead, so let's get straight into it with my panel. Joining me is Victorian Liberal leader Michael Kroger and One Nation Chief of Staff James Ashby. Gentlemen, thanks for joining me tonight. Let's start with the federal government's budget update to be officially released on Wednesday. It'll show a massive drop in mining exports, about $100 billion, at the same time as higher government spending, all of which will push Labor's budget further into the red over the next 4 years. Now, here's what Treasurer Jim Chalmers had to say in response to excellent questions from my Sky News colleague Andrew Clennell.
You had deficits predicted in your budget of $28.3 billion, growing to $42.8 billion in 25-26, which would be about the sixth largest on record, then 26.7, then $24 billion. Is the totality of those deficits that you're going to forecast on Wednesday bigger than the totality of those four forecast in the budget?
Oh, you have to wait and see the numbers on Wednesday, Andrew. We've been upfront and said that because of some of these pressures, well, you have to see on Wednesday. You'll see all the numbers on Wednesday. There hasn't been slippage in every year. We've been able to do a little bit better in the near term, but there's been some slippage for reasons that we've been upfront about. But the overall story since we came to office, two surpluses, a huge turnaround in the budget situation that we inherited, much less debt, much less interest on the debt, will show that we've made really very, very substantial progress since we came to office.
Michael Kroger, substantial progress. I'm not sure many people would agree with that assessment.
Well, it depends how you define substantial progress, James. Look, he's had two surpluses which have nothing to do with him, right? He's not in charge of the budget, right? The budget's in charge of him. He's punch drunk. He's a cork in the ocean, this poor bloke. He's just a commentator, right, telling us, you know, what's happening out there. He's got no control over anything. What we know is this. In the last budget, that he said the next 4 years, the next four budgets will be $121 billion worth of deficits. Deloitte's put out a report the other week saying it won't be 121, it'll be 149 billion. Now, we don't need to wait till Wednesday. I can tell you now, it's more than the 121 that he predicted. This bloke cannot control his spending. He is too weak to be Treasurer of this country. That fellow Pallas, who's doing us all a favour by leaving, he ought to get a third rocking chair.
For Jim Chalmers.
Well, mate, seriously, I mean, Chalmers has completely lost control of the budget. We're going to have deficits over the next 4 years, probably more than $150 billion, right? It's why I don't think Albo can wait for the budget to be brought down before he calls an election. He's got to have an election before he has a budget. The punters out there think that there's something about Chalmers. He's had two surpluses, so that's good. When they say, yeah, but by the way, the next four are over $150 billion, it'll be like, oh, I thought this bloke was good. No, he was just very lucky. So that's why I think Albo will go before the budget, because they've totally lost control of everything out there.
Well, James Ashby, when you've got a $100 billion hole in the budget because our exports to China are going to be down, you cut spending, don't you?
Well, that's normally the trend, and it's something that this Labor government don't know how to do very well at all, and that is pull the reins in. Households have got to do it right across the country. I think it's going to be a leaner Christmas for most households out there. But this is a government that think that by giving out or doling out all this money, more borrowed money, I might just say, they will win the votes. And they may very well do that. That is what Labor do best. They scare people into thinking that the coalition will pull or retract the money from the economy so greatly that it will have detrimental impacts on people's hip pockets. We know that people are struggling already, so that fear itself doesn't take much to permeate the minds of those people already doing it tough. Look, if they're going to use any levers as a government between now and the election, I don't think they're leaving themselves much time. But to soften the landing here, they've got to make doing business in this country a whole lot easier, and they're doing nothing about that. In fact, they're only making it tougher for businesses. And as a result of that, we are seeing businesses crumble at a rapid rate of knots, and that's not making life any better either.